Here we have the uh, okay. Now we discussed about a concept of conversions, right? Conversions. What is conversions? One way loading of data. Please remember this: one-way loading of data. Now, what do I mean by one-way loading of data? See, the data is coming from non-SAP systems to SAP systems, non-SAP systems to SAP systems. Any concept, okay, any concept which actually brings the data from non-SAP to SAP is called conversion. So we have done BDC, call transaction method, and then we have the session method. These are the two things that we have here, the BDCs, and then we have the LSMW, and then we have the direct input method. These are the things, these are the topics that we have. Direct input method, we will have a direct program. As the name itself indicates, we don't have to do anything. Direct program, which can be executed to upload standard transaction codes. Okay, for few standard transaction codes, they have given the direct input program, which actually can be made use of in the LSMW as well. But in LSMW, we have done the session method. We've done the session method. Other than that, we'll have the direct input method, and then we have the BAPI method, DI method, and BAPI method, and then we have the IDOC method. Okay, these are the things that we have. Now IDOC. Now we need to understand that if you are getting the data from non-SAP to SAP, it's called conversions. Or anywhere, from anywhere you're getting the data, it is called conversions. But now what are interfaces? Interfaces are also popularly called as cross applications. Okay, interfaces are also called as cross applications. The concept is also called as cross applications. Now, what does it mean? Now, in SAP, wherever you see legacy system, it means non-SAP system. Okay, if you see LSMW, what does L stands for? L stands for legacy system migration workbench. This is migration workbench, legacy system migration workbench, LSMW. So L means legacy. Okay, so we have the data in the non-SAP system. To get the SAP into SAP system, we have, that's the reason it's called legacy system. So now when we say legacy system to legacy system means non-SAP system. Now from, if you want to interact with non-SAP to SAP, or from SAP to SAP, non-SAP to SAP and SAP to SAP, okay, in either of these two things, in whether it is non-SAP to SAP or SAP to SAP interaction or communication between these two, we can have it through interfaces or cross applications. As the name interface or cross application, slightly, if you go for the in-depth English meaning also, it actually converts into exchange. Okay, cross applications for sending and receiving. Okay, so in this way, and in this, like, the main thing is in BDC, the main drawback of conversions is you can only receive the data but not send the data to outside systems. In interfaces, whatever concepts were implemented at the beginning, they were able to exchange the data, but at a very slow process. Now what happens if you are sending the data or receiving the data through interfaces? The system used to slow down. The reason for system slowdown is because it creates a lot of load on both the servers. To avoid these kind of situations, they had implemented something called BAPI. BAPI happens to be a hybrid solution for this. Now, let's say we can say something like, you have purchased a mobile phone and you want to upload the songs. The easiest and the fastest and the simplest way to do is through wire. Okay, so connect your system to wire. Your system through wire, system through wire, and phone. Okay, so we'll get the system. From system we are provided, and this concept can be compared with conversions just for our understanding. Okay, you can make it as a story for a long term, and long term memory. So we have conversions. This is like this, but this when we say cross applications or interfaces or cross applications is also written as CA. In this, it is like a Bluetooth. Now you can receive and send the data, but whenever you switch on the Bluetooth, and if you observe, sending and receiving data will be very, very slow. Sending and receiving the data will be very slow in the concept of Bluetooth. Okay, system, the process of sending and receiving will be very slow. And when let's say you have, for example, like Anirudh has a song which like for example, like Ardhana liked it very much, and she wants it. If they are in the same classroom, you can just simply send it through Bluetooth. It will be fine. But what if like Nitin has some 100 songs, all the 100 songs are liked by Kirti, and Kirti wants all the 100 songs. It's not practically possible to send it through Bluetooth. Okay, so you have some other applications. Okay, can you say me one app in which we can send and receive the data very fast? Any app, Android app, for exchanging huge data. Can anyone of you help me with that?
Google Files.
Sorry, local file.
Google Files.
Google File. Oh, no. We have just like if you open that, it'll switch on the kind of a Bluetooth and exchange a lot of data. Huge amount of records can be exchanged from one phone to another phone, very easily, very fast. Other than Google Files, so there is something like you can just select anything. It might be a song, it might be a picture, anything can be exchanged very fast. So anyways, like let's say we have this kind of thing. Okay, so whatever it might be. Okay, we had an application called Share It. So Share It is an application. You can install that and you can share a lot of data from one phone to another phone very easily, very comfortably. Now this is kind of a hybrid solution. It actually exchanges data. At the same time, it does not obligate or stop you to use the phone just like Bluetooth does. So because this is what we have, Share It. Now similarly, here we have a hybrid concept called BAPI. So BAPI stands for Business Application Programming Interface. Now the advantage of BAPI is that you can either use it as a interface, and it can also be used for conversions. Means for huge data loading also we can use, and for exchange of data also we can use. But other than that, prior to this, whatever interfaces that we had in this, we have the first one happens to be RFC, remote function call. RFC. Now, RFC is a very simple process. I mean, like compared to the other ones, it's a simple process in which we can connect SAP to SAP. For SAP to SAP connection, see, let's say we are doing a business and we are an automobile company, we are BMW, and now we have to send some data to MRF tire manufacturing company. So if you have to send the data to tire manufacturing company MRF, then you need to you actually have some process. So let's say MRF and BMW both are using SAP, then they can connect with RFC and they can exchange the data. Not only that, let's say we have BMW India and BMW Europe. So BMW India, BMW Europe both have a different SAP servers. Then if they want to interact, they can do it from SAP to SAP. And let's say in our own organization, let's say within the BMW same plant, same office, we are using two softwares, two versions, old version of SAP and new version of SAP. Then also we can use RFC. So RFC is basically for SAP to SAP connections. And how do we establish that? We'll see that. But then we have something called ALE. So we have EDI. EDI is an outdated concept. So EDI was started in 1964. Can anyone tell me when SAP was started? Can you guess at least? Can you guess when SAP was started? 1972, right? So now we have this. So if you can see clearly, EDI was something which was started for global communication of data between the softwares, which was not actually, it's not actually done by SAP. SAP has nothing to do with EDI. EDI is a global concept. You can come across EDI in any software. Okay, so exchange of data from Java to Oracle, or say exchange of data from .NET or websites, HTML pages to .NET. So anything, any exchange of data between softwares will come to this EDI. So SAP also adapted that EDI initially to exchange the data, but later they thought that there are some things that have to be that doesn't work properly in EDI for SAP. They implemented their own cross application tool called ALE. ALE you will find only in SAP. Okay, this is SAP specific concept, which called application linking and enabling. Application linking and enabling. Right? Application linking and enabling. So ALE happens to be a very, you know, ALE happens to be a very specific tool for exchange of data. Then they thought there are some drawbacks of ALE, which I will tell you that. Then they also have implemented, came up with something called BI. Now it's called PO. What is BI? And previous to that, we had something called XI. These are all the same thing. And this is a separate software again, provided by SAP only, and we have to purchase it. It's not, it doesn't come under by default in the same licensing that we have purchased. Let's say if a company purchases ECC 6.0 or S4HANA, whatever software for running the business, in that software by default this doesn't come. You have to purchase it separately, these licenses, this software. So some people don't go for it. They don't go for it. They just go for the free application that SAP already by default provides. That's called ALE, application linking and enabling. Okay, so this is what we are. In general, we will have a lot of things that we can go ahead and understand. But here, what we will do right now is we will understand the RFC connection. So how do we actually make a RFC connection? See, first and foremost is they need to be linked. Okay, they need to be linked. Two servers have to be linked. They should be in the same network and they should be establishing a that a remote function call, we do it in SM34. So we'll do that, and link these two servers have to be linked. And once they are linked, then you can go ahead and call. Okay, let's say I have a system A here. And system B here. So in the system A, I have a function module. Okay, this is system A, and this is B. Okay, this is A and B. Okay, now here we have a function module. Let's say you would like to call this function module which we have in the first system into second system. Okay, then this needs to be made as remote function call. Remote function call. See, you all, what did you do? You created a function module and you actually called it from our program, right? So now let's assume that the calling program is in another server. Calling program is another server, and the function module is in this server. Okay, so this is system A and system B. So system B is calling whatever is written in system A. For that purpose, we have remote function call. Okay, remote function call, wherein we need to make this function module as remote enabled. You need to make the function module as remote enabled function module. Okay, you need to give this remote enabled function module. When you make a function model remote enabled so that it can be called from other systems which are in the same network, which are connected properly. So for this, what you need to do is you need to actually go and make the function model remote enabled. Okay, so the moment I make a function model remote enabled, you will observe that system will not be taking the pass by value, pass by reference, pass by reference. It will not take pass by reference. It will take only pass by value. Now, what do I mean by pass by reference, pass by value? Let's understand that. Now, by default, it will always be pass by reference in SAP, which will be fast. Let's say I define something like data KUNNR type KUNNR. Now, can anyone tell me what is this next second KUNNR? First KUNNR is field. What is second KUNNR?
Data type.
Data type, exactly, correct. Data element, right? So in our ABAP terminology, it's data element. Now we are actually referring to the data element, and there is another way of doing it that is called data KUNNR like KNM1 hyphen KUNNR. Now tell me what is this KNM1 hyphen KUNNR? What is KNM1? Exactly, table, na? Table field. Okay, this is a table field, and we are referring to table field. Okay, so we have two choices, and now in we in the past versions it used to be thread, but now here you can happily write type also. It works for you. You can go ahead and check that. Even if you write type also, it works. But the point is not that. The point is that we have two choices. One is pass by reference. This is pass by reference. Okay, this is pass by reference. This is pass by reference, and then this is pass by value. So we have two choices. One is going for the pass by reference, and another one is pass by value. So this is pass by reference and pass by value. Okay, so now in remote enable function calls, pass by reference will not work. Pass by reference will not work. Let us understand from very common thing. Let us not go technically. Let's go for, see, when I go for pass by reference, we need to have the definition of data element. See, if I give something like KUNR1, will it work? 100% it will not work. The reason, there is no data element called KUNR1. It will work only when we have KUNR. But how does the system know? The system knows that by checking the definition of it. It goes and checks the definition of KNR, and is it there in the system. If it is there, it will be happy. If it's not there, it will throw an error. Now here, where is the definition of data element given? In the first system, where we have defined the function module. Here. So the definition of that data element is given in the first module. But where are we calling it from? The second system. So when we are doing it, the definitions, all the definitions of system A cannot be accessed by system B. System B can access only that particular function module. See, if MRF is connecting to BMW and accessing the data, they will not be able to access the entire system data. They'll be given access only to access that function module. So in that case, it will not work with pass by reference. This cannot work in the RFC function modules. Only this will work. Okay, only this pass by value will work. Pass by reference will not work. Okay, so let us see that in the system. Okay, see, this is 100% working fine. Let me show you that. 10 and 20 and execute it. And you'll get 30. This is working fine. Okay, the function model is working fine. Now, what I'll do is I'll go to this attributes. Okay, so in import parameters, we have this one and this one. So int underscore 5, int underscore 5, we have this. Now here we have something called pass by value. So pass by reference is by default. By default it works. So there was no issue till now because these all were taken as pass by reference. But what I'll do right now is I'll make this as remote enable function module. I'll make this normal function module as remote enable function module and save. And now system will throw an error. Please observe this. When I go for this, it says reference parameters are not allowed in RFC. Reference parameters are not allowed with RFC. Means what? You cannot actually refer to the pass by value. Now, if you pass by reference, if you go and click this as pass by value, these two, and here in export also pass by value, then system will not have any problem. It will work fine. So whenever you are making a table or any particular function module as a remote enable, you need to make sure that you have all the parameters as pass by value. Okay, we need to select it as pass by value. So this function module is capable, can be called from other systems also when it is made as RFC enabled. Now we need to understand about the BAPI concept, business application programming concept, interface concept. We also have to create a BAPI. As I told you, this is a remote. This is a hybrid concept actually. Now, any function module can be converted into what you call remote enabled function module. Okay, we can convert anything into remote. But now, what is BAPI is what we need to understand. What is BAPI? BAPI stands for Business Application Programming Interface. BAPI stands for Business Application Programming Interface. It is basically used to exchange the data between SAP system. That is, here we see that it's R3. R3 is the old version of ECC. We all know that. This data can be exchanged. If you see, observe here the arrow mark is on two sides, not one side. It means exchange of data with different systems. We're using this BAPI concept. So this is the application which enables us to connect between the SAP and non-SAP systems. And this BAPI is actually a function module. We will be creating a BAPI function module, and we are going to introduce that in the business object repository. Please remember that. So we'll first create a BAPI and place it in the business object repository. Only when you place that BAPI function model into the business object repository BOR, then only it will work. It will act like a BAPI. Otherwise, it will be a simple function module. Now, what is a BAPI? So it's an RFC enabled function module is what this guy is saying. What she's saying that it's a method of business object. Now, which is correct? Now, this guy is saying it's a remote enabled function module. That is also correct. And it's a method of a business object. That is also correct. It actually acts like a method of a business object repository. So method in the sense, like for a class we have method, right? Similarly, we will be creating a method. We'll be adding this BAPI function module as a method in the BOR. So both the statements are correct. When they say RSC enabled function module, correct. When she says business object, method of a business object, that is also correct. Now, what makes a BAPI special? It's an RFC enabled function module. Okay, that's the first one. Parameters must be data dictionary types, called synchronously and no exceptions. So exceptions cannot be added here. Exceptions in the sense the errors, because it is exchanging the data between two systems. So exchange errors, maintaining the errors is not possible. Business objects here. So now when you enter the business object, this is how it look like. Okay, in the business objects, this you can go and see in SWO1 transaction, SWO1. So in this, in the SWO1, when you see the object will have interfaces, key fields, attributes, methods, and events. In this, in the methods, we are going to add it. This is a BAPI Explorer, and this is actually a standard BAPI. Now we are going to create our own BAPI, Z BAPI, but here it's a standard BAPI. Okay. So for exchange of data, here we are using this for exchange of data in a particular scenario. Okay. So I'm going to share this to you so that you can just go through that and have a better understanding of it. And we are going to create our own BAPI function module, and we are going to add it in the SWO1, and all these things we'll do. So I'll be sharing it in the drive, and you can just go through this presentation. And we will continue with the BAPI. We'll continue with the BAPI creation of a BAPI. Creation of a BAPI. Also, I'll try my level best to complete the BADI also today, but no hurries. We just understand this, and interfaces and enhancements. Both we need to do a couple of scenarios, and if we have time, we'll come back to the concepts which we have discussed in the earlier part, and we can do a lot of projects in on the previous concepts as well. So here you once go through this, and these are the concepts on which you need to get more clarity, because these concepts have to be understood. Understood, the entire process needs to be understood, because see, if you need a piece of code, let's understand from the business perspective. If you need a piece of code, or if you need some functionality, you can search for the functionality online, and you will get some concept